What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL. Shout out to the DFS squad. Shout out to everybody watching this video right now. Drop a like down below because I already know you're gonna love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you comment anything in the comments section to enter your name into that $50 giveaway that I do every single week on this channel because I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. Anyways, we are really close to 13,000 subscribers, so please take just a second. Go down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Once NFL season starts, I will be doing live shows. I'll probably do a couple live shows throughout the week, as well as my first look lineup video in the beginning of the week. At greenlightdfs.com, we for package members, for weekly package members, or season-long, whatever, we always will do. We include the showdown lineups for the Monday night slates, the Thursday night slates, the Sunday. You know, we play a ton. We even added college football to it last year, but not sure exactly how that's going to work this year. But yeah, so with minus the college football, we're going to have a ton of things going up at Greenlight DFS, and it's going to be exciting and a great NFL season. This video that you're about to watch is a little bit different because normally I'll do one video over one sport and then another video on another. I figure since we only have 2-game slates, the reason I don't make videos on 2-game NBA slates is just because there's really not much to talk about. You only have a certain select amount of people that you can play. But in this video, what I'm going to do is I can just combine them. All right, so I'm going to start the video off and we're going to talk about baseball. We're going to go over our top plays on baseball and how I like to play this slate the best. And then we'll switch over, talk FanDuel baseball, and then we'll go over and talk NBA. So if you're here just for NBA, fast forward through this video where I start talking about NBA. That'll happen after baseball. For everybody here for baseball, then just stay exactly where you are. All right? Welcome to the channel. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. GreenlightDFS.com to join the squad. As you can see, I have the Greenlight Optimizer up, which, by the way, we will have an NFL optimizer at Greenlight DFS, and that will be done shortly, actually. But let's start off with pitching. All right, let's start off with pitching. Now, the main guys that I'm sitting here with and I'm looking at is Mike Clevenger. Clevenger's making his first start for his new team, San Diego, going against the Angels. Obviously, he's already stretched out. There's no reason for them to limit him in any way. He's going against a tough Angels squad that doesn't strike out a ton, and they've got some good bats in that lineup, like Mike Trout. But, I mean, with that being said, though, Mike Clevenger is a guy who has a solid K rate at 8.7. Now, his K rate has dropped from what we're used to seeing from Clevenger this season, and he's had some rough outings this year. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is still a dude with just a solid K rate to give him a decent floor in this one. He did get 4 against Minnesota, but outside of that, he's been fairly consistent this season. He got 16 in his last start against Minnesota. Got blown up a bit and only got 4 in the first one. He hasn't had any big games, and I wouldn't expect this one against the Angels to be a big one. But he is a fairly safe option at 8.7. I mean, that price is pretty damn good going against the Angels. They do strike out over 22% of the time versus righties. The wind is blowing out to center field, which isn't great news, but that's just as of right now. Obviously, wind could change at any moment. So, I mean, it just is what it is. So, Mike Clevenger is a guy I'm interested in. Clayton Kershaw, obviously, is a guy that you will want some exposure to if you're able to. Obviously, I always tell you, prioritize your pitching. Now, Clayton Kershaw had a good Clayton Kershaw had a good outing against his Arizona squad in Arizona previously, getting 26 DraftKings points. The only game that he's been blown up and didn't look great was against San Francisco, where he only got 8 DraftKings points. Clayton Kershaw is at home in Los Angeles, which is a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Vegas has Arizona only implied to score 3.5 runs. So Clayton Kershaw has a 30.8 K rate. He has over a 30% K rate, striking out almost 11 per 9. He only has a 0.95 whip for... That means he's missing bats. All right, he's doing very well at missing bats, limiting hard contact. Clayton Kershaw is as safe as it gets on this slate. Okay, when it comes to safety, it's Clayton Kershaw and then a huge gap to second. All right, second place is not particularly close. All right, so Clayton Kershaw is a fantastic option. Really, really love him. Outside of that, obviously, you have Andrew Heaney going against San Diego. Obviously, San Diego's offense can be scary from time to time. They do have times where they just absolutely explode. And this is a tough one for them. All right, but San Diego has over a 24% K rate to lefties. Andrew Heaney has a solid K rate. period. He's over almost 28% K rate, strikes out almost 11 per 9, has a 1.30 whip, which is behind Clevenger and Kershaw on the slate. But outside of that, he's been pretty good. He's been pretty solid. So going against San Diego, this is a guy that could also do well. It's Clevenger and Heaney here. I lean Clevenger slightly, who's just got the better numbers overall. But it's a tough one. It's definitely a close call. But both of those guys are solid. And outside of that, there's just, I'll talk a bit about Taijuan Walker because I feel like he could possibly be sneaky on this slate. Now, here's the thing. Vegas has Boston's implied total at 5.2. So they're implying that Boston's going to dominate Taijuan Walker. But if you look so far at this year, Walker's been dominated twice. First game was against Houston's offense. They probably were banging on trash cans, so let that slide. All right? Next game against Oakland, he dropped 33. Then he had a down game against the Angels, and then 18, 26, 21 the last three. For a guy who's been fairly solid for the most part this year, 4 out of his 6 starts, he's gotten over 18 DraftKings points, and one of them had the upside of 33 and 26. Going against a Boston squad that has almost a 31% strikeout rate versus righties, Taijuan Walker is very interesting and very sneaky at 4.8. He is free. Absolutely free. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Toronto's offense against Martin Perez, and we'll talk about some guys that I like from there. But on this side, Boston, I love Devers as well. I love Devers on the other side of Taijuan Walker. But honestly, Taijuan Walker at 4.8 is a solid GPP spend down because, like in GPPs, instead of prioritizing pitcher, it's prioritizing double dong type of bats. It's prioritizing those offenses that can get you those double dongs, 30 to 50 points, triple dongs. That's what you need in GPP. So spend down at pitcher and GPP, and I can totally understand playing Taijuan Walker for sure. All right? Now, let's talk some bats real quick, and then we'll switch over to FanDuel. When it comes to bats, let's talk first base first. Let's start over here at first base. Now, I have it limited down pretty much so far this morning already to my favorite bats that I am interested in the most. And when it comes to those two bats, I'm going to start off with Luke Voit. All right? Luke Voit has a 368 batting average versus righties. He's a guy who hits righties better than lefties. He has 6 home runs this season versus righties. He has a 368 ISO, a 485 WOBA, an 854 WOBA plus ISO. So if you combine the ISO and WOBA together, he's not only getting on base, but he's hitting the ball hard with power. Luke Voigt's only 3.9. He is only 3.9 and one of my favorite first basemen on this slate going against Selman. All right, absolutely love this spot for Luke Voit. Love a lot of these New York bats in this lineup. All right, outside of that, I want to talk about Rhys Hoskins. Let me find Rhys Hoskins. Here he is, Rhys Hoskins. All right, Rhys Hoskins has a 280 batting average versus righties, okay? But the best part is he has a 320 ISO and a 425 WOBA. He's got 4 home runs against righties so far this year. He's been hitting them very, very well, man. Not only is he getting on base, but he's hitting the ball hard. Now, he doesn't have as good of numbers as Luke Voit, and he's almost 1,000 more. So Luke Voit is the guy that I'm predominantly liking the most. But Rhys Hoskins is also a solid play. So those are my two absolute favorite, Voit and Hoskins at first base. You can spend down, go 2.8 Rowdy Tellez, who I know he's facing a lefty. It's a lefty-lefty matchup. But he's got a 333 batting average versus lefties and a 345 WOBA. He's not hitting lefties hard, but he's getting on base against lefties. And at 2.8, he could get on base a few times and knocked in both times. He can end up with 6 to 8 points pretty easily. And at 2.8, hey, we'll take that. All right? Let's go second base real quick. I'm going to just go through this really quick. My favorite second baseman is probably right now DJ LeMahieu. 364 average, 409 WOBA. Not hitting the ball really particularly hard versus righties, but he's getting on base with ease. All right, so DJ LeMahieu is one of the best hitters in the entire league this year, and he's only 4.3. Ridiculous. All right. Kevin Biggio. If you're stacking up Toronto, you can't make it without Kevin Biggio. Go ahead and just put him in. He's got a 440 WOBA. One of the best WOBAs versus his standard pitching that he's facing. And it's a lefty-lefty matchup, so maybe people mistakenly don't play him because of that when Biggio hits lefties well. 333 batting average, 440 WOBA. He doesn't hit with a ton of power, but like I said, he'll get on base. And when Biggio gets on base, he's always a stolen base threat as well. He could steal a base as well, so we'll see about that. Anyways, those are my two favorite second basemen as of now. Rafael Devers at third base, absolutely love. I'm going to fly through this. Manny Machado is another guy that I really love at third base. J.D. Davis, I mean, look at the price, 2.8. J.D. Davis has a 333 batting average and a 382 WOBA versus lefties. He's got the righty-lefty matchup. Once again, he's another guy who doesn't hit with much power versus lefties, but he gets on base. And at 2.8, I mean, Vegas has this implied total at almost 5. So J.D. Davis is a fantastic option. Let's skip over to shortstop. If you need a value, J.D. Davis is a fantastic option. Whereas in cash games, you're paying up for pitching. You should be at least. So J.D. Davis is a very solid value, and you'll probably want to play some of that. But as shortstop, I mean, come on. Tim Anderson has like ridiculous numbers versus lefties, and I'm always going to mention him when he's facing a lefty. He's going against Danny Duffy. He's got a 429 average versus lefties, 5 home runs, a 679 ISO. I can't even hit that hard in MLB The Show. Okay, my created player, I could put my overall rating on MLB The Show to 99 in everything and still not have a 679 ISO. That's absolutely ridiculous. 679 and a 628 WOBA, which I like to combine those two to get an idea of how much he gets on base and that amount of power to kind of separate guys throughout the day. He has a 1306 when you combine the two. Dude is ridiculous. All right, the guy is ridiculous. Tim Anderson is my favorite shortstop, especially when it comes to upside. But obviously, Trey Turner, Corey Seager are also fantastic options. I don't need to mention Tatis. If you have the money, sure. On this slate, I'm preferring Tim Anderson, though, honestly. Tatis will probably draw the ownership. I'm preferring Anderson over him at 300 more. Or also, another cheap option if he ends up in the lineup is Santiago Espinal. All right, Santiago Espinal has a fantastic matchup against the lefties, 333 batting average. He doesn't hit the ball hard, but he's pretty good versus lefties, so I really like him as well. Let's touch on outfield real quick. All right, on outfield, I love Randall Grichuk. Randall Grichuk's one of my favorite bats on this slate at 3.8. The dude's a beast, 406 average, 500 ISO, 539 WOBA, ridiculous. Alex Verdugo. All right, I'm going to touch on about 5 outfielders. Alex Verdugo I like in that game. If you're playing Walker, then don't play Verdugo. But if you're not playing Walker, Verdugo's a great option. Another Toronto bat. I love Toronto today. Is Toscar Hernandez. 375 average. Absolutely tearing lefties up. 708 ISO. Jeez, he's up there with Tim Anderson with upside potential on this slate. If you have the money, Mookie Betts obviously is hitting righties fantastic. Let's talk about another New York Yankee. Clint Frazier is fantastic versus right-handers. He has a 357 average, a 381 ISO, and a 506 WOBA. Great option. If you're stacking Toronto, once again, you could go Biggio in the outfield. What else we got? Juan Soto going against Eflin. I mean, I don't have to explain much. Soto's one of the best hitters in the league. Going against Eflin, who struggles badly versus lefties. Juan Soto's a fantastic option. And then I want to finish it off. Let's talk about another Toronto. Lourdes Gurriel. My boy Gurriel, he only has a 241 average versus lefties. He's actually been hitting righties better. But this is a very big total, and Gurriel's a double dong upside potential at any given moment. The dude's pretty damn solid. He's got a nice solid ISO, 272 ISO versus lefties. I think Gurriel is a solid option. He is below on my rankings for Toronto. It's Grichuk at the top, Toscar Hernandez, Biggio, and then you got Gurriel down below. But Gurriel's been hitting very well, and you need to add him in your Toronto stacks if available. All right? Now, let's check out FanDuel. Let's touch on this real quick. Let's look at prices. All right. So, I mean, you're going Clevenger, Kershaw, or Heaney. Plain and simple. Clevenger, Kershaw, or Heaney over on FanDuel. All right. Now, let's check on our favorite hitters. All right. First, let's start off with Gurriel. Lourdes Gurriel, 2.8. Absolutely criminal. Amazing play. All right. Grichuk, 3.4. Still very good price. Let's look at Toscar Hernandez, 3.9. So they priced him up a bit over here. He's not as much of a great play over here as he is DK because his price is a little higher, but he's a great option. FanDuel sees it and understands it. Gurriel is a great option over here as a point per dollar guy. Let's just do it like this. Let's look at what the Greenlight Optimizer really loves on this slate today. Dahlbeck is a big dude with some good power at 2-4. Gurriel is my main guy that I definitely want exposure to. J.D. Davis, I talked about over on DK, how they just have him priced criminally low for this matchup. Should be batting high in the order. Lefty-righty matchup, 2-7. He's a great option. Mike Tauchman. I love lefties in this against Selman even more so than righties, even though Voit mashes righties, so I'm not worried about it. I like both sides, but I'm saying the lefties actually have been doing slightly better against Selman, so Mike Tauchman at 2-6 is a fantastic option. Definitely love him. What other guys that I want to make sure I touch on? Eric Thames. Another lefty going against Eflin. Thames is a guy who will either home run or strike out. So you run the risk of a 0 pretty easily here, but you run that risk with every player. So Eric Thames could get absolutely smashed, but he could also smash. So great plays. Those are my main guys. Oh, Alex Verdugo is locked at 2-9. Don't even overthink it. 2-9, that's way too cheap over here. Clint Frazier's another guy. You have so much value. I'm just going to straight up say it. Over here on FanDuel, play Clayton Kershaw. He's the safest pitcher on the slate. He's also got the highest upside, in my opinion. And you have so much value. It's just so easily done. All right, plain and simple. It's just easy. All right, so play Clayton Kershaw. Now, I'm going to go over to, hold on. I'm going to switch over to the NBA Optimizer real quick. All right. Now, let's do it. NBA. Let's talk NBA for DraftKings real quick. Let's get straight into it. Now, starting off, the first thing that I notice is the Optimizer really loves Kemba Walker at 7-7. Great situation here for him. I mean, the dude's in a great spot at only 7-7. Kemba Walker isn't like the safest play ever. I mean, the dude can definitely disappear in games, but it's a good spot for him. I think he's in a solid position to have a good game here. At only 7-7, it's just a solid position for him to be in. Him and there's multiple guards. I mean, Kemba 47, 50, 41, 30 his last 4 games. He's been doing fairly well. 7-7 is still just a little too cheap. Fred VanVleet is another guy. I mean, he's pretty damn consistent. I mean, 60, 49, 40, 26, 40, 39. Pretty damn consistent outside of the weird outlier against Brooklyn where he got 26. But at 7-7, Fred VanVleet's also in play as well. Got to talk about Kyle Lowry, who the Optimizer doesn't love as well as those guys, but he's there. Kyle Lowry going against Boston, he has been also pretty damn consistent. All right, 36 and 41 in their 2 games against Boston. Toronto really needs a win in this one. So I'd expect these Toronto guys to come out firing. VanVleet's a fantastic play. Kemba Walker's a fantastic play. Let's go ahead and switch the positions. Let's talk bigs real quick. All right, let's talk bigs real quick. Now, starting it off, our boy Serge Ibaka has been just smashing. As you can see, the Optimizer loves him and Zubac as guys. Options on this slate. All right, 6'1". Serge Ibaka's only 6'1". Zubac's only 4'8". These are 2 guys that I'm definitely interested in on this slate. Zubac has been solid, 26 and 29 his last few games. He plays a solid amount of minutes. They're going to need him down low as much as possible against Jokic. They're going to need his size down low, so I expect Zubac to have a great game, and at 4'8", he's just really, really cheap, man. And Serge Ibaka, I also think is going to have a great game. I do like Jokic. You know I love bigs against the Clippers. Absolutely love them. Porzingis showed some upside against them with over a 57 3 games ago or so. So Jokic's in a great spot at 9.5. He's in a fantastic position here. Zubac is amazing value, so maybe put a Zubac in your utility type of thing. But this is first look, so don't just lock people in from this video and not look at anything else. All right, now, shooting guard, let's touch on it real quick because, man, Jamal Murray was ridiculous in that last matchup against Utah. Outside of the one game where he struggled and got 27 in their last win, 82, 68, 67. This dude is coming out firing, okay? And Luka Doncic put on a show each and every game against this Clipper defense. All right, now it's a solid Clipper defense, and Jamal Murray is 9'3", which is pretty damn high. So, I mean, you've got guys like Van Vliet right there. You've got Jaylen Brown. I do like Van Vliet probably point per dollar wise more than Jamal Murray. But damn, Jamal Murray could drop another 50 bomb for sure. But that is what you need. If you play Jamal Murray, you need a 50 bomb. Plain and simple. All right. So overall, when it comes to my favorite plays for basketball today, I like Jokic as the spend up. He's one of my favorite guys. As you can see, the optimizer really loves him as well. He's really, really high up here. I really like Jokic a lot. Outside of that, Kemba Walker, I like a lot of the guards. I'm not going to have much Kawhi Leonard or Jason Tatum, but all the other guys are fantastic plays. Zubac's my favorite value on the slate. Let's talk FanDuel real quick. On FanDuel, Kemba Walker, Fred VanVleet are great options once again. Jokic is probably my lock at center. Absolutely love Jokic today on the slate. Let's look at point per dollar real quick. As value options, Robert Williams is a solid value at 3.8. He's a guy that you can get some exposure to on the slate. Not a ton of amazing value over here on FanDuel, so you're going to kind of want to balance it out as much as possible. I prefer going Jokic, spending up a Jokic at center, and then kind of balancing the rest of the lineup out. I mean, you've got the two guards in the 7K range. Well, those are great options. And then maybe throw in a Robert Williams to give you some more exposure. All right? And that's it, y'all. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully I was able to touch on everything, get you guys a good first look into the slate. Thank you guys for joining me as always. GreenlightDFS.com. Join the squad. I'm out.